When I was 17, I moved to college 2 hours away from my home and took residence in the dorms on campus. The dorms were not run through the school, but through a management company. There were a lot of safety problems in the dorms as a result of this. Assaults, ODs, drugs, shootings right outside, etc. I am a 100-pound female, so I always looked out for the serious situations around me. Everything was great, and I had some awful roommates, but I was mostly left alone, so that was good. One day in September, I was leaving for class early in the morning when I spotted a condom taped to my name tag on the door. It had a note that said, "Call me, kiss hug," with some random phone number on it. I told the RAs, but nothing ever came of it. I just thought it was some random prank pulled by one of the guys on the floor or something. Things went south with my roommates, mostly because of my night terrors, scaring them, even though I warned them before we even agreed to be roommates, but that's another story. So, I was moved into a 2-bedroom dorm with my new roommate, Jay. We each had our own room. After a week of living there, I started noticing that things were appearing in the living room while we were sleeping. I asked Jay about it, and she vehemently denied that it was her. One day, we noticed that the lock on the front door didn't lock properly. If you pulled on the lock and twisted the handle at the same time, the door would just come right open. Around the same time, I started getting Snapchats of inappropriate things, vague threats and offers for great sex. I would get ones that would say things like, "You look great today with that specific article of clothing that I was wearing." Obviously, I filed a report to the dorms to get that lock fixed, but it took 4 months, 8 complaints, threat of legal action, and my friend D yelling at them to get anything done. We got our door fixed, but the presence still appeared outside of the door with notes for me. I was still receiving Snapchats, but I moved out of the dorms into an apartment with my then boyfriend. But the Snapchats continued, and then I started getting calls at my work. I worked for the dean's office of my college, and I was in charge of answering phones. Every day, I would get 3 or more calls from randomly generated numbers. I discovered it was through apps like Viber and Skype after I reported it to the police and they investigated. I would answer the phone. "Hi, this is CLAS Dean's office. How can I help you?" And I would hear heavy breathing for a few seconds, and then they would hang up. I thought that it was just some 12-year-old pranking our office. That is, until my co-worker got a call. She answered with her name, and the person on the line asked if they could speak with me. Thinking it was one of the deans that I'd been working with, she forwarded it to my phone. I answered it, and I received the same heavy breathing and hang-up. I reported it to my boss, and she did nothing. One of the deans overheard the conversation, though, and reported it to Title IX. And oh boy, talking to them was a massive mistake. After the meeting with them, the threats started getting worse, and this person found me in my new apartment. One day in December, I was dog-sitting 2 wonderful dogs who hated other dogs and would bark at them on sight. It was around 11 p.m. and I decided to take them out before bed. We get outside, and to the right of me is a bunch of thick trees that are pretty hard to see through. I start to take the girls to the grass on the left, and they start growling and barking at something in the trees. Thinking it's just another dog, I try to pull them away, but they will not budge. I glance over, and out of the trees comes a tall man. But the weird thing is that he's wearing a Michael Myers-like mask. He starts rushing towards me, and the dogs get between me and him, and he stops. I run up the stairs behind me into the apartment as he's disappearing into the trees again. Stupidly, I didn't call the police, but I see him one more time before I move to my new apartment. Things are quiet for a little while after that, and my boyfriend and I break up, and I spend the first few days in the new apartment alone. I come to find out, though, that the window that can be accessed from the ground doesn't lock. And one morning, I wake up and everything seems normal, but I check the mirror to do my hair for work and I have a bald spot. My head was shaved in the middle of the night. I find my hair tied up in knots in an envelope too. I immediately call the police and they do an investigation, find the window was broken, but can't find anything to figure out who it was that came into my apartment. They asked me to compile a list of everything that was missing, and the only thing gone, other than my hair, were 3 pairs of dirty underwear. I have photos of the hair and the bald spot if anyone is interested too. An investigation finds no one, and I've since moved again. I also no longer answer phones at my work, and I keep bear spray next to my bed at all times.